just put together the SWIS for 2023.
Correct.
So we can talk a little bit about that. This is good timing because I started the podcast by congratulating Brian on the Lifetime Achievement Award, from last year.
Well deserved.
And he'll be presenting again this year as well. What news do you have?
I think the biggest thing is we finally found the dates. So it's October 20th and 21st. It'll be at the Hilton Easton Hotel, so the same hotel as last time. And what we've done, instead of having 5 streams, we're going to have 4. And in discussion with you and a number of other people, what we're going to do is we're going to combine the treatment and the rehabilitation together. So it'll double the size of the room. Instead of holding 100, 125 people, we'll be able to hold, 200, 250 people. I know that Brian had a hard time getting everyone in. There was a number of presenters, so we want to expand that out. So we're going to have training, we're going to have nutrition, we'll have treatment and rehab, and then we'll have the smaller room, which will be for just one thing and some of the other ideas that you and I have been discussing. Okay.
One thing I want to kind of get out there is, especially with Brian here too, because he was there, he's part of contributed with the whole thing from the VIP all the way through.
Yeah.
And last year, one of the roadblocks that we ran into was trying to market to people that didn't even know what a network experience was. So we're trying to, and it didn't dawn on us till like 6 weeks out, but we're trying to market, where you really learn the most is not really so much in the rooms, but, just the people that you meet and all those other things. And a lot of people have never had that before. Like, we grew up competing, so you'd learn in warm-up rooms and shit like that, and then conferences and stuff of that sort. How would you try to explain that in your own words, what that networking experience is worth?
It's at least I think it's potentially more valuable than seeing the courses that you want to see and the speaking, the speakers that you want to see. It's more valuable.
I agree.
And the cool thing about this past year was the ability to powwow around a squat rack or the bench press or whatever, a treatment table or whatever it may be, so you could actually go see what the person was talking about in their talk. You can actually see them demonstrate without so much limited time. On, let's just say, what comes to mind is maybe like JL's RPR or something like that. You're like, hey, I didn't really get that up there. Like, what did you mean? Oh, Ken, come over here real quick. JL calls Ken over, or maybe puts the person that's curious on the table and shows. So you get the interaction there that you're not going to get when you have like 250 people in a room. You're still going to get a great talk, and you can't even see, a lot of the time, you can't even see one of these people for the price that was put on such a great package last year. You can't even see one speaker talk, much less 2 full days of people like Stan Efferding and Matt Winning and Jim Wendler, Dave Tate, and like Ken Connect, all these people that a lot of people have only seen YouTube videos of. You get to hang out with these people. The workshopping, Sunday everyone was here at the compound hanging out, amazing. Which Cody was here, and he said it was just blew his mind, not just because the equipment's cool, not because the culture that Dave's created, but everyone in their element and lifting. They're here. People are lifting. They're having fun. It's not so. It's still official, but it's not as official as the presenting's over with. A lot of the time, the quote unquote work has been done, because I put a lot of pressure on myself to execute and do well. Now it's time to do and apply some of the things that you've learned from the courses and see that person workshopping even farther than they did in between the courses and whatnot. I mean, you could probably pull up a picture of me outside of my talk, and I have a dozen people, and I'm hanging out in the squat rack, leaning on a squat rack, and they're just doing little follow-up questions with me right there in the hallway, and I can put them on the ground and demonstrate the technique that I was showing. You're just not going to be able to get that anywhere else, at least in my experience. You'd go and pay a similar amount for a half-a-day course with one person, much less all the speakers that you get to see, and then the above and beyond with the time you can spend in the element with that practitioner, whether it's here or in between the courses on that Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
We had 70 presenters. So that was just an astronomical amount of people. And the real cool part was that you could go out into the hallway and run into, and you actually see Stan Efferding talking to Ed Cohn, who's talking to you, and you guys are kind of coming up with some unique ideas. And then the social area, as far as the bar and that whole lounge area, was enormous. And it just, everyone is just talking and different ideas and networking as far as, where do you work? Oh, you know what? I'm going to send someone to you. And because right now what's happening up in Canada is a lot of the gyms are really, really struggling. You know, money's getting tight and everything else. So now you got to work outside of your normal network and create new ones. So my goal this year is I'm going to be working with the International Chiropractic Association. So we're going to see if we can get 100 to 200 chiropractors that would normally go to the Arnold. That's this weekend. They don't do that seminar. I presented there at least a dozen times, and they would have about 200 chiropractors that are all interested in weight training, in physical modalities. How do you actually treat these different issues? And everyone had presented there. Lee Haney, Dorian Yates, Arnold shows up there, every year, give a little speech. So they're not doing it. So they actually approached me and said, this is unbelievable. So could we run, do a section in that area? I said, absolutely. We'll bring in some of the top chiropractors and also physical therapists and also massage therapists to show the different aspects of it. So it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's
very.
So, you just kind of alluded to that, but I saw someone post today that they're not doing the education this weekend at Arnold.
No.
So the people that are out there listening right now that are disappointed, I've seen the posts like, damn, I've been going to the education for years, the Arnold.
Yep.
Don't worry. Another what? We'll be here before you know, another 7 months from now.
265 days.
SWIS will be happening, and you'll get above and beyond what you'll be getting this weekend potentially, at least in my opinion. But I haven't attended the Arnold education. I know people that have, but I can tell you with the quality of people that are coming, it's a formidable opponent to any seminar out there. So I can say that without bashing any other thing. I know it's very formidable with the people that are coming in.
The Arnold education is good, and I presented there many times. Dave Sandler did it for many years, who presents at SWIS all the time, and then Michael took it over for a while. And they usually get probably 50 to 100 people. Not as multidisciplinary as what we're doing and not as structured, but this will be experience. Dave and I have been talking as far as some of the presenters that we want to bring in, and it's going to be action packed. This is something to really, really experience. And also we'll be videotaping it, and also we're going to be doing online streaming. So if you can't make it for whatever reason, you can still participate online, and we'll do it right up this time.
Yeah, the one thing I want to piggyback off what you said, which extends beyond just the SWIS Symposium and so forth, is I've been in business for 25 years, and my parents owned a business and my grandparents owned a business. So I've been in a small business world longer than I've been alive, right? If it was my grandparents and all that. So the one thing that I've learned, if you're in a recession, or just say, I not only want to say the word recession, I want to say a contraction, right? Because it could just be your own business that's contracting. It doesn't have to be economic contraction, because people can grow in an economic contraction. But whenever you're in a contraction, the best way to deal with that is you have to increase your education. Right? Because there's a reason why you're in a contraction, right? Or if it's, economic, even economic, with most of the people who are listening to this, they have smaller businesses. So there's no reason why you need to get hit super hard in an economic recession, because your fucking market is not giant, right? When you're Walmart, you're going to get hit because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of customers. If you're relying upon hundreds of customers, yes, you're going to feel some of that, but the reason why there is that contraction is because you're either falling behind, everybody else, so now they're leaping over you, or you're not staying ahead of everybody else. So whenever I've felt a contraction, even when I was still a personal trainer, that was my sign I need to learn more.
Yep.
What do I not know that I don't know? What am I leaving on the table? And if it is, an employee of somebody that's working for somebody else and there's a contraction, you need to be asking yourself, how can I provide more value? Because if it is a bigger company, they are going to lay people off. Right? They're never going to lay off the people who generate revenue equal to or more than that person's being paid, right? Which comes down to skill set, which comes down to education, right? So, and networking plays into that as well. So it's when we're in this type of area, my advice to people is double down on the education.
Yep.
Right? It's for two reasons. The first reason is what I said. The second reason is you're 90% or more, I can't validate that as a fact, of your competitors are not.
Yep.
They're the ones that are bitching about everything and complaining and making excuses. So the best time is, like we were talking before, you got to look for that advantage to how you can jump atop. The best time to jump atop of somebody is when they're not looking. Right. And if they're not looking, they're not working their skills, then it's there. Now, SWIS has the education, the presenters and all that's in there. But even before that, if people are not looking for how they can increase their skill set in the marketplace, myself, and this is what I spend all my time outside of podcasting, all my time doing is, where are those things, to leverage up. But if it's not leverage up, where are those things that keep us from not getting leveraged down substantially? Because if everybody's going to get leveraged down, by how much? Like if you're not educated, you're going to be leveraged down to the point you're out of business. If you're going to be leveraged down, say everybody by 40%, but you're smarter, but it's only 20%, I'd rather take a 20% under prior year than 40 than being out of business. Optimally, you want to go over, but it still comes down to education. And
I think the biggest thing is that you get to see different things and you start creating a niche. What are you well known for? Like, if I had a patient and they said, listen, I want to learn how to, do bodybuilding. Would I send them to you? No. Do you know how to do it? Yeah. Powerlifting, priority in mind. You've built that reputation and understanding in that area. If it was bodybuilding, it would have been John Meadows. Because he is the bodybuilding guru. So I think people are trying to do everything. They're trying to do rehab and also training and also nutrition and hormone optimization, and treatment, and it just goes on and on. Just choose one. Mm-hmm. And Stu McGill is the brilliant master at that. Yep. And I told the story before that, I did SWIS. Stu presented for me in 2001 and I brought it back in 2015. I phoned up Stu and I said, do you want to come present at SWIS? He says, what's the theme? I said, shoulder. He says, no. I said, why? He says, when you do low back, give me a call. That's what I focus in on. I went, okay. So then I phoned him up, 2060, and I said, we're doing low back. He says, I'll be there. We even did a pre-con, and we got 120 people because he's known. Now, Stu knows a ton about the shoulder. You talk to him, it's mind-blowing how much he knows about the shoulder, but he says, yeah, that's not my wheelhouse. And it's so the more definitive that you are, and Stu gets what? 2,000, I think about 2,000 applications for him to see. I think he takes about 5 a month, at a high rate.
He gets to about up to 2,000 a week. People's trying to see him.
Yeah. And I think
he's pretty open about that, 2,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He sees just a couple here and there.
But he is the guy, and he's built his reputation around that. So, the cool part with the symposium in the fall, you're going to see the best of the best of the best. And you can talk to them. What did it actually take? For you, it actually took, because you basically veered from powerlifting, and now you're becoming one of the top rehabilitative experts because you've lived both worlds.
Yep.
You're just not saying, a PhD in biomechanics. It's like, yeah, I've squatted, over 1,000 pounds 50 times, correct? Mm-hmm. In competition. So that's a whole different level. And so those are the different, it's practical and also theoretical, and also the networking of how can I sustain business? Because everyone that's usually going to show up, they're in business. You either own a gym, you're either a personal trainer, strength coach. You're bringing value, and also you need to always level up you gotta stay ahead of the competition and understand what is actually coming down the pipeline, and that way you never have to worry, because I mean that way you're always on top. Even if there's a recession, I don't think Stu's going to feel it. So,
yeah, and here's the thing, like, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the price point, especially with the early bird, is so ridiculously affordable.
yeah.
I don't know if you guys are going to do that again.
We will.
But regardless, it's so affordable. It's so affordable to do. If you are a little bit slow, there might be a reason for that. You need, like you said, you need to level up your education. But whenever I have a slower couple days or two, I look forward to it, not just because of the break. I can dig back into my material and study. I do that all the time. I'm going back, and I was telling Dave earlier, I'm going back through the McGill courses online. I've done them all. I even taught McGill 3 one time when he couldn't make it into the country. I had to go up on a whim and teach McGill 3. But I'm still going up and studying all these courses, just because each time I go back through, when I have a slow day, I pick up something else. Even if I spend 15 minutes, I'll always pick up something. If I read 5 pages that I've read 20 times already, oh man, I never really thought about it this way. I've been struggling with this a little bit. Boom, there we go. There's something I can implement. My next client comes in. All the time. And if I'm busy, I'm executing what I've learned, and then I look forward to a little bit of a lull, study more, get better, and separate yourself. Like you said, find the niche. That's going to separate you from all the other people, because there's a crap load of PTs and chiros and everything in between in the States. You know, in Canada, what's going to make people want to come to you? Are you just another run in the mill, or do you separate yourselves because you work with not just lay people? Can you work with an athlete? I can't think of a better place to be able to learn how to work with athletes than coming and rubbing shoulders with them all weekend and asking them whatever the heck you want to.
No, I agree.